Ladies and gentlemen, this is Dustin Perry from Ghost Hunters and Ghost Hunters International, and you are tuned into the PARAnomaly ZONE.
Look, I know the supernatural is something that isn't supposed to happen. It does happen.
A ghostly apparition in the dark of night.
Human sacrifice, dogs and cats living together, mass hysteria.
Hey there, ponderers of the paranormal. You have found the PARAnomaly ZONE, and tonight we were beyond excited and beyond honored to welcome to the PARAnomaly ZONE author, adventurer, speaker, Bigfoot researcher, and quite frankly, a legend in the world of Bigfoot. The man who captured some of, if not the most impressive audio recordings, of Sasquatch vocalizations ever, Mr. Ron Morehead. You can buy Ron's books, Voices in the Wilderness, and The Quantum Bigfoot at Ron's website, ronmorehead.com. Do yourself a favor and check those out. You won't regret it. Also, you can download the digital versions of the utterly fascinating Sierra Sounds, the alleged recordings of Sasquatch vocalizations, and you can judge for yourself. I'm willing to bet that you will become a believer. Without any further ado, please enjoy our chat with the one and only Ron Morehead. But it's great to see you again. I don't know if you remember, Ron. Back in 2014, you first appeared on our podcast, but we were a different name that time. We were called the Alternate Route Podcast, and my fiance Bridget and I were chatting with you back in the day. And now I'm joined by this guy right here.
Mike.
Yes, it's great to meet you.
Thank you, Mike. Same here.
Yeah, the new name is PARAnomaly ZONE. We're still covering all things unknown, unexplained, mysterious, and this is one of our favorite subjects, Ron. We cannot get enough of Bigfoot and Sasquatch, and who better to go to? Who better to go to than Ron Morehead?
Who would have ever known it would have got this way 50 years ago?
Oh my gosh.
Absolutely.
Oh my gosh. Yeah, it's amazing because do you get uncomfortable when you're referred to as a legend in the Bigfoot field? Does that make you uncomfortable?
I don't get uncomfortable very easy.
Okay.
You guys can call me anything you want to. It doesn't matter to me.
Sure.
Take things in stride.
Yeah.
I was on that Travel Channel's Alaska Killer Bigfoot, and
Right.
they're calling me an expert there, but I never said that.
Hey.
Trying to make their narrative come out right,
That's right. That's great that you brought that up because I have that written down in my notes here. I wanted to discuss that briefly, whatever you are allowed to discuss regarding that show.
Oh, well, it's out now, so I can discuss anything about it.
Absolutely. For those who aren't familiar, as Ron said, that's about Alaska Killer Bigfoot. It's about the mystery at Portlock, Alaska, the alleged mystery that occurred. Could you run us through that, what supposedly happened at Portlock,
Sure.
Alaska, Ron?
Well, this was years and years ago in the 50s, actually, or 40s, during the 40s. Supposedly this whole village was being attacked by some type of a bipedal giant. They call it a different name up there, but it was Bigfoot. That's what kind of relates to us. And anyway, they were dismembering people and they were killing people, and people just turned up missing, and they kind of decided just to abandon the village. They got tired of it. I think they got 30 people missing or dismembered or something. It wasn't a bear. They said they've seen it, and so they wanted me up there basically to just orient for the film, just for what they're doing now, And I was up there a couple of days. A lot of fun. I mean, I got helicoptered into this remote area out of Homer, Alaska, and they catered to me for a couple of days and filmed me. Really very professionally done.
Sure.
And, helicopter me out. I got it all videoed in my own little camera.
Nice.
That was fun part. I used to take helicopter lessons. I'm a private pilot in a regular airplane. I've owned several airplanes over my life, and so I hadn't been up in quite a while because I sold my airplanes when I left out of California and Washington. So anyway, that's what it is. They really do, I think, have something up there. I mean, it's when I flew over in a helicopter, I looked for problems or things that could have happened in that area. And they did a lot of logging there. That was looked like they were just cleaning up the area, but really cutting down a lot of stuff.
Okay.
And they fishing or maybe overfishing the area. I don't know, but also I told them if you're shooting at them, that's going to piss them off. They're going to come after you. You know, you don't need to be doing that. That pissed me off. Somebody shot me.
Gosh, yeah.
I'm just saying. So really, that's the story. You know, it's.
So do you personally believe that this went down? What is your opinion as far as being a rather violent and a fatalistic Bigfoot?
After I talk to these guys, and they're sincere guys, you know, everybody says, "Well, they're bad actors." Well, they're not actors at all. They're just people out in the woods, you know, or in these villages, and I got to know them, and the stories they got, and I read the history of the place too. It's got a lot of history about this, so it's not a matter of if it happened. It happened. It's just what made it happen is the question.
Okay.
And they were wanting, if it is the Bigfoot, which they said it was, they wanted to know what I would do about it, or what they could do about it to reestablish their village there, so they could do fishing some more and do what they were doing. But I told them, as long as you're shooting at the thing, I mean, I told them a lot of things you've never seen on the film.
Okay, sure.
my opinion is they were ready to shoot at it if they'd have saw it. So
do you think
they had the guy there with the gun, and they're just frightened. They're all scared, and
right.
You know, that's not the attitude you got to have around these things. If you're gonna try to interact with them, or because they're trying to make something happen.
Sure.
Anyway, you can't make it happen. You got to let it happen, relax, and try not to have your fear get in the way. That's hard. That's the hardest part.
Absolutely.
So this like the attacks and the killing and the mutilations, whatever, defensive from whatever this is that's could be causing this.
I don't know. You don't know, because no one's around that was actually there then. 70 years ago, I think, something like that. So you don't know. But I can't believe they didn't shoot at it, just because that's what you do when you see a 12-foot monster. You know?
Right.
Sure.
And people want to kill what they don't understand.
Yeah, fear of the unknown. Yeah.
That's just the way we are by nature, and best thing to do is just try to understand things, and then you won't want to kill it.
Yeah.
In your research into Sasquatch and Bigfoot and all accounts that you have dove into, Ron, I would assume that the majority of them are not of violent nature, and that they're more of a more passive nature. Would you agree with that? That it's more of a inquisitive or curious nature for most of these encounters?
I would agree. Yeah, I would agree with that. I don't think they want to be malicious or attack people. Of course, we don't know the agenda. That's the biggest deal. And right out front here, I don't think they're all the same. There are different types with different motives, different agendas. I believe in aliens. I think all of us do. If you don't, you've got your head in the sand with nowadays.
Right. Exactly.
They're here. They've been here, and they're here now. And what they do is probably out of our 3D perception quite a bit. Because they live in a different frequency, and that's what got me into my quantum Bigfoot book.
Right.
Frequency, energy, and vibrations, how everything works. But yeah, these things, they're not supposed to, I think, interfere with us, because we're supposed to live with our own, respond to our own experiences in our own way. And when you can do that and learn how to do it with compassion and love, you're elevating your own frequency.
Yeah.
So that's how I see it, and that's what I think these things want us to do, is become better people. People think they're just an ape out in the wood. A lot of researchers do, but I got to tell you, they're a lot more than that. And I think they got some attributes that we haven't learned how to evolve into yet. And that is being able to change matter into energy. And I get off like this, right?
Your beliefs on what you're just talking there just really parallel my own very, very closely.
Yeah.
So I agree with you very much.
You know, this subject matters and how I present it is really hitting on a lot of people positively, and that's
Mhm.
what I'm all about nowadays. You know, I'm pushing 80 years old now, and I just want what I have, and what I think I know, and where I've been to relate to
Right.
people, and make them better researchers if it works with them, and make something coming out of this because well, all the masters of old talked about how we're supposed to love each other and care and blah, 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 blah. That's how you get better and no violence and all that. But we're killing the earth, we're killing ourselves, and we're wars all the time. And really, if you learn how to be compassionate and respond to all your issues, all your challenges that are meant in your life, and don't be the victim in all this stuff, because all these challenges that you get is really there to make you better.
Right.
If you respond to them properly, you know, just it's how you respond that's more important than the issue itself.
Hmm.
So
Right.
if we just learn how to respond to this stuff, we can get ahead and we'll be better off. And,
Very true.
Do you believe that Bigfoot's in relation to the alien connection, the interdimensional connection? Do you believe that they are here to oversee us and to help guide us to better ourselves? Do you find that a feasible option?
absolutely, yeah. I mean, they could be. I'm not saying I know that. I just
Right.
think that. I believe that some of them are, some of them may not be, because a lot of different types of aliens have been here.
Mhm.
And I mean, over the eons of time, and they've messed with the DNA of a lot of different species on this planet, humans being one of them,
Mhm.
and primates, and what their agenda was when they did that. I think they're experimenting a lot, but you hear a lot about all kinds of things out there.
Sure.
A dog man,
Yep.
ghosts for another. You know, that of course that's a different subject, but ghosts gets into the plasma field of the fourth dimension. That's why people see it at certain temperatures or certain atmosphere in that timing. They'll get on the same frequency, and you'll be able to see through that veil.
Wow.
And it
Wow.
just that's my opinion too. But you know, a lot of these things are seen disappearing. I thought, well, nothing can disappear. Well, in quantum physics, yeah,
They
we only
can.
see within light's perception just a certain frequency, and that's light's frequency. But there's so much more out there that we don't see. It's other dimensions. We don't see other dimensions. It's supposed to be 11 of them according to the mathematics of physics,
Mhm.
and we only live in 3. So can they disappear? Well, they can go out of our perception. Are they really disappearing, or we just don't see them? But they say they pixelated, and they're like kind of like the predator effect, you know.
Sure.
When they
Yeah.
saw them disappear, they pixelated and then it was gone. Well, in my opinion, that's where they went through the fourth dimension into the fifth, and I think they can do that through their vibrational frequency. They've learned how to they've learned how to manipulate their vibration,
Wow.
and once you can do that, you can change matter, and
Hmm.
that's kind of cool.
That's
It's a
very
big deal.
cool.
And which makes me believe that they're more evolved and more spiritually evolved than we are.
Well, they've got some attributes that we have. I think we just haven't evolved, like you said.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Because we were told, Jesus Christ said that years and years ago, you know, you can do what I'm doing. And I looked at it because I was raised religiously. I'm not religious now, don't get me wrong, but I'm a spiritual, like we all are spiritual, whether you like it or not. These spirits go on because
Right.
energy can't die, it can only change forms. But you get into quantum physics, you realize that there's just more going on than what you can see. And so they, in my opinion, because they have such an advanced vocal mechanism, it's been studied by science and by professionals, way outside of what we can do. And if they can get the frequency right and get their own vibrational frequency the right place, I think they can just go off into another dimension. They can change their matter into energy only. A lot of people say they showed this on that Alaska killer Bigfoot too, where I said they live in trees. Well, that's the Native American lore, is they live in trees.
Mhm.
and they live in 2 worlds. Well, you put that together and they can live in our world, and when they're in our world, they're subject to our rules. When they're in our 3-dimensional world, they can be shot, all that stuff can happen. They eat, they poop, they procreate. So I think when they step out, time don't exist as we perceive it in this dimension. It's just not there. We have time, linear time, just going through this dimensional area we're in. I think we're all here just to learn, and really, that's
Absolutely.
what we're here for: to learn and to respond to our issues the right way.
So what do you believe is the connection? Like if one takes a little bit of time to do, to dive into some of these occurrences, some of these accounts of Bigfoot, being seen or heard, a lot of the witnesses say that either prior to or after seeing or hearing a Bigfoot, they see what we refer to as orbs, glowing lights flying through the woods at night. If there is a connection there, in your opinion, what is the connection to these orbs and the appearance of Bigfoot?
Well, it could be just the form of energy they're going into.
Okay.
If they are doing that, what I'm suggesting. Yeah, we've had orbs up at our camp a lot, the Sierra camp, and when we're recording these things, you can see these balls of light. And we've had other things happen up there too, which are just no answer in classical science. You got to get into quantum physics, and then it makes sense.
Right.
But
Sure.
I was up there in 2016, and we was in our tent with an open top, and we've seen this light, probably about 3 or 4 foot long, like a lifesaver, just floating through the trees. We watched it for several seconds, and you don't know what to do with that, because it's right there at our camp. It's nighttime, dark, and it's not like it's flooding out, blowing everything. It's just glowing, and that was predicted in David Paulides' missing the hunted missing 411, the hunted. They recreated that light and did a really good job. Anybody wants to see what that's all about. And also the little section that follows my 15-minute part in that DVD, this lady who was tree hunting, she was up in a tree stand. She's seen something pixelated going from one tree to another. At the same time, a bunch of kids seen a UFO down in a ballpark.
Really?
So I think there's a connection with these lights and orbs and energy. It's all energy. There's so many forms of energy out there. I mean, there could be ghosts around you right now, or entities around you right now. You just don't see them, but they're there.
I believe that.
Yep.
Yeah.
We sure do. We sure do. Yeah, as listeners to our podcast know, and this is no joke, Ron, my podcast partner, Mike, he and I have been friends for several years now, and he quite literally has lived a paranormal life. It's like either he is one of those beings that is just open to that other dimension, for whatever reason, I don't know, because I'm still waiting. Yeah, but Mike has had so many odd paranormal experiences. Do you think that some people are more open to that, Ron, for whatever reason? Are they biologically made that way, or what are your
they're
thoughts?
open to it because I think their pineal gland is not calcified like everybody else's. So they calcify our pineal gland, which is our third eye, which receives things. And if you can decalcify that and clean it up, you'll be more intuitive. You'll be more apt to know a lot more things. That's how remote viewing works. There's a lot of that going on that people don't really know about or understand. But the FBI, I know 2 people that's been hired by the FBI to be remote viewers, and they started that in the Second World War. After that, when they knew the Russians were remote viewing, and there's something to it. I mean, these people are able to do that, and how do they do it? Well, that's what classical science can't explain, but quantum science can, because we're all one energy that's just waiting to go somewhere else. And that's more important, I think, than just Bigfoot, really. They're here. Well, really, I appreciate the experience I had and the experiences I'm still having, but that may be the smaller picture in this whole big picture that we're building.
It's one part of a big picture.
Yeah, I think UFOs are a big deal. They're coming, and they're going to be more and more of those exposed. I think the media now is kind of inundating us too. The government is too, inundating us to just accept them, because they're all kinds of, even the cartoons have UFO or aliens in them.
Sure.
And these theaters you see, and the theaters, all that stuff. Well, when it does happen, we won't be so shocked. They only give us what we can handle.
What we can handle, right? Yep. So, continuing along those lines, you had mentioned briefly there that you said experiences, or stuff that you are still experiencing nowadays. To the best of your knowledge, and I'm sure you can pull it up off the top of your head like nothing, what was the last encounter you had with Sasquatch / Bigfoot? Has it been a long time, or do you still have those moments?
The very last time when I 100% down and dirty, I was at camp in 2011, and I heard them chattering. I heard him walking around later, right by my tent there that I had set up. And
Wow.
that's the last time that I know of that that I could really say. And I wrote about that in my book, Voices in Wilderness.
Yes.
That was my last encounter. I say encounter, right? Yeah,
Yeah.
that's it. Thank you.
Awesome book. Love it.
Yeah. And anyway, yeah, that was when I know something was, one of them was there. And I was there by myself, which is a no-no. I had someone scheduled to go with me, and he backed out. So, and really, Scott Nelson, a cryptolinguist, and I went up there 3 times that summer and stayed about a week at a time. Came out, took a shower, resupplied, went back up. So I was in really good shape. So I was ready to go back again when Scott had to go back to his teaching in Missouri. And I'm going to go up there again because nothing happened when Scott was there. Nothing happened that was definitive. You can't really,
Sure.
unless you can say, you can't just say, well, that was a big, you can't just say that because you didn't understand the sound that you heard.
Right.
You didn't know it for sure. But if it's chattering, like I know when a Bigfoot chatters, I've heard it a lot. So nothing happened really definitively, like I say, when he was there. I went back up 2011. That's when that happened with me.
Okay.
And I was ready to spend 3 days, but after the first night and all that stuff took place, I guess I'm ready to get out. My answer is there.
Yeah.
They're still around. And then in 2016, when I went back in between all that too, but 2016 when I seen that bolt of light, I say bolt of light, it sounds like it's going fast, but it wasn't going fast. That really, it really excites you.
Yeah, I was going to say that's something.
It's a form of energy, but it was intelligent. And some of these balls that you see called orbs, if your camera can pick those up when your eyes can't.
Mm-hmm.
And I was up at Joe Hauser's Montana Vortex a couple of times, and one time let's go out there, and we went out. He's got quite some anomalies up there, and we started flashing pictures, and then look at them later, and there's orbs in the pictures. And it's not raindrops, people. It's raindrops reflection off a piece of dirt or something like that. Well, I blew one of them up. There's a design in it. And
no kidding.
It looked like a Mayan calendar, to be honest with you, just really complex. And that's not a raindrop.
No,
I'm sorry, but that's just. So there's something going on with those things, and they're forms of energy. And again, I think they're all around us, pretty much all the time. You just don't see them all the time.
Mm-hmm.
Your camera might, and animals' eyes see better than we do. Like I say, we only see within certain frequencies. We only hear within certain frequencies. We don't hear ultrasound or infrasound, but it's out there. We don't smell. Our olfactory sense is not as good as a bear or dogs.
Mm-hmm.
In fact, a bear's olfactory sense, they say, is 2,100 times better than a human's.
Wow.
But you know that's out there.
Yes.
There's things that we just aren't into.
Yep, we can't.
And once you can get your mind open, that's the biggest deal. Open-mindedness to the fact that things are going on. There's other things happening on this planet. You'll be more apt to receive, like Mike, what you've been doing, Mike. And
right.
I think meditation is important. Being still, and don't try to think about things. Just be still and meditate and try to balance your body, because your chakras have to be balanced. And I think that's when you get the heart coherence, because your heart's got a brain too. Most people don't know that, but it's got sensories just like your brain does. And if your heart and your brain can get in balance and get in coherence, you're going to have some things happen that's really good for you. As long as your pineal gland is decalcified so they can blend in with it all, and you'll have the 3 parts of your body that's going somewhere.
Man, get to work, Mike. Get to work.
I try to convince Patrick you have to have an open mind, because I believe that he has experienced things, and him and I have experienced things together, but he's got that little bit of doubt, that little bit of more skepticism. Where
that's the key. It's definitely, I'm a believer. I'm an absolute believer, but I have I feel like I'm being held back by again, skepticism, and not necessarily. I hate saying logic, because that makes me sound like, oh, I'm being logical. No one else is. That's not it. It's just like I can't get past that. It's like I need to have the proverbial slap in my face, Ron.
Just meditate. Just clear your mind. Try to think about the space between your letters or something. There's no space there.
I agree.
And be receptive. And your brain will start filling in holes if you're not careful. I mean, it does that. It can only fill in what it knows. And you got something happening that, I've seen a bear over there in the dumpster. Well, was it a bear?
Sure. Mm-hmm.
Your brain was going to tell you it's a bear, or it might have been a big bear, it might have been a Bigfoot, and you say it's a bear.
You interpreted it as a bear, yeah, because that's all you
your brain's
know.
going to fill in the hole. It's got a word for that. It escapes me right now, but
No, it's I want to make sure we get as much in as we can, Ron. We're already at 25 minutes. Man, this goes by way too fast.
I know.
If it's okay with you, when we're done chatting with you at the end of the episode, I am going to share some of the audio clips from Sierra Sounds, if I have your permission to do so.
Sure.
And let's talk about those. This started for you back in 1971, and as far as a lot of these recordings went down. Kind of walk us through how this started and like how you initially felt when you realized that your camp was basically surrounded by a family of Bigfoot.
Yeah, that's a question I've had too. Like, there's got to be some kind of, definite excitement, maybe some fear. I mean, what was actually going through your mind? That had to have been something else.
Well, really, you get up there and you're inside the shelter, first of all, and you think the shelter is going to protect you, but when you realize how big these things have to be, you got doubts. But we're all heavily armed. I mean, we're not up there. It's a hunting camp, 8 miles in the wilderness, 8,400 feet in elevation, and nobody's around. And if this stuff starts happening outside the shelter and the sounds and all, and when the guy wouldn't go back, he just don't go back up there anymore. It scares him, and he's very religious. You don't know where to put this in the giant thing,
Mm-hmm.
And anyway, it could be fearful. You can be fearful, but you get over that when you realize they're not going to crash in the shelter and get you. They're not going to eat you, carry you away, or nothing. But when they're arguing out there and they're talking like they talked, you don't know if they're looking for the salt and pepper or what they're going to sprinkle on you when they grab you. You just don't know. And but after a while, you get complacent with it, and you hope it's happening as it gets exciting. You get real excited, and that's where I was in '74 when I finally saw one. Really pretty good view of one. When the samurai cry happened up behind me and it went down towards what we think was an adolescent and a mother down below. And I got that recorded, by the way, my second CD.
Mm-hmm.
So anyway, that's yeah.
It's these sounds are these I own both of those CDs, and I've devoured them. I mean, I've listened to these so often. I remember when I first listened to these, Ron, it literally blew me away. And I would imagine how I would have reacted if this happened. I would like to think that I would have, like you said, if we were enclosed in a shelter, you would feel safe. And if you're with friends, you're with your fellow campers, that you would feel fairly secure. But I don't know. I think I would have been a little bit intimidated, and I don't know how long it would have lasted.
You are. You don't know what you're dealing with. Nobody was looking for Bigfoot at the time. It wasn't on our radar. It's a hunting camp, and these things may have been stumbling around there for a long time, just not recognized. Not noticed. The Johnson brothers, who've been hunting there since '58, they may have encountered more than they just put it off as a bear or something else, because Bigfoot was not on their radar at all.
Mm-hmm.
And just so happened by accident, and didn't shoot at them. They didn't come in after us. Kind of a go back and forth thing went on. So it wasn't until '74 when really I had those really cool interactions with them. I got it recorded.
Yes, you did.
That was exciting night. And that's when they started interacting with us outside the shelter. When I was outside the shelter, they're by their stove area. That was fun. I mean, exciting fun, because you don't know, still don't know.
Now, in your book, I know in chapter 6 of, I'm holding up the book right now for viewers, Voices in the Wilderness, one of your books, your chapter is called Tricks and Traps, and it's refers to your attempts of getting a photograph, getting any sort of recording of them other than audio. Do you think that the inability to capture them on picture, on cellular, or whatever you want to call it, is due to the fact simply that they are interdimensional and they are blending in and they're going in and out of views that we just can't get?
Good question, Patrick. I have no idea.
Mm-hmm. Right?
I don't know. We should have seen them more often. There's times when we jump out of the shelter, go out and see where the sound's coming from. You don't see a thing, but it's dark, moonlight maybe. But
sure.
I don't know. I've questioned that because in those days we had no idea about the interdimensional. I didn't. Nobody was thinking. We was looking for the ape out there that just hadn't been in Darwin's theory yet, you know.
Mm-hmm.
And like so many guys still are, but they're more advanced than that. They got really a high level of intuitiveness. So we didn't know that. Underestimated everything we did back then was just even setting up the camera traps. We tried that. We have a thread 6 foot high, you know, so when they've been coming in after the food right there.
Mm-hmm.
Then they go around the thread, you know, stuff like that happened. And one time they battered the cameras off the tree, you know.
Wow.
We've never got a picture, and that's what everybody thinks we should have got. Well, if they'd had that kind of an encounter, they'd have had a picture. Well,
no, it's not that easy, is
them
it?
go out and get a picture. It's not that easy.
They hide too well.
Well, they hide. They're probably camouflage artists, you know.
Exactly.
I would imagine.
Right.
And if they can do what I'm suggesting as far as their energy goes and their matter, change the matter into energy and back again with their frequency, that would explain a lot of things to a lot of people who are seeing this stuff. 'Cause I used to throw them out, people out when I was interviewing them with the baby water when they said they saw them disappear or the trackways disappear. Well, is there what can answer that? Al Berry, who had a master's in science, said stay with science. If you're going to do this, well, quantum science is what answers some of this stuff.
Mm-hmm.
And if they can change their mass into energy only, their density would be nil then, and their trackways would just stop. And I used to think that somebody say their trackways just stopped, that they just were incorrect. They wasn't following a Bigfoot or something. A helicopter pick them up. What happened to them?
Mm-hmm.
What happened to me? My daughter had a sighting. We found the trackway, started following it, and all of a sudden it just stopped. And I looked up the trees. I got the picture of that in my book.
Yes. It's like, where did it go?
Yeah, where'd it go? Didn't
That's
couldn't
amazing.
figure it out. So I thought, well, what can make that happen? The density. If they don't have density anymore with their mass, they won't leave a track.
They're not going to leave a track, are they?
But look at that second section right after me on that missing 411, which I think it's maybe free now on YouTube. I'm not sure.
Okay.
Or if it isn't, it's inexpensive now. But I'm 15 minutes of theirs is just on the Sierra camp. David's the only one I've ever taken up there. He talked me into it, and I'm so glad I did, because there's a lot of fires in California then, and
Oh, yeah.
it's really smoky up there. We was up there a full week, and nothing happened. But the 2 years before, that light went by us, and of course that was minimal amount of people. You know, just 3 people were up there, me and 2 others, and it just I didn't expect anything to happen. He didn't really expect anything to happen, but we didn't even see any animals up there. It's so smoky, and anyway, I'm glad I took him up there and let him do that. I trust him. He's a good man.
Yeah.
And he's been a good friend. I met him in, I think, 2009 or something like that.
Okay.
Maybe sooner than that. I don't know. I've known him for years. Pretty black and white guy. I mean, he's
Sure.
tell you what he thinks.
Yeah. No shades of gray.
No shades of gray. I like that.
Yeah.
You know, just what to expect out of somebody when there's no shades of gray.
No. Well, Ron, we got like 5 minutes to go here. 5 minutes before.
Good.
Yeah, and this has gone way too fast. I'm going to have to harass you again to get you on the podcast one more time, if you're up for it. That we just fly through this too much. I'm trying to. Mike, do you have any final questions? Any final comments? So much stuff that we need to get to, but we just don't have time. What do you?
Well,
what do you
know,
got, Mike?
in the form that I usually take on our episodes, I do have one question to ask.
Okay.
And have you ever seen the movie Harry and the Hendersons? And if you have, what do you think of it?
Pretty cool. Yeah, I've seen it. I've watched it. Yeah. Well, the way they cut at the end, I love the way they came at the end, where they just
They blend in, they walk out.
they
You can't
blend
see
in,
them.
just came off a tree, you know. Or something.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, I liked it. It was
A
fun.
lot of fun. It was a lot of fun.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But yeah, my website's ronmorehead.com.
Thank you. I was going to ask you where people can reach you, Ron.
Yeah, people
Ron,
can
thank
get
you.
my books or my CDs there. They're delivered through Amazon KDP. So, well, the CDs aren't. They're downloadable, but everything's downloadable on my site too.
Perfect.
People don't want to buy the hard copy.
Yeah, I still got the good old CDs from back in the day.
Do you? Yeah, I stopped shipping those out because I was having to pack them myself. I couldn't well, it got too big, you know, to do that all the time, every day. You're doing this stuff.
Oh, that gets
I'm just too busy.
gets a
So I
little
thought I'll do
tedious.
this, put a download in there. People can still hear the sounds, but they have to download them. And they can burn them to a CD if they want to after that.
Here, Okay, we got like a couple minutes left, and I want to catch you before I want to ask you a question before we go. As briefly as you think you can, Ron, do you believe, and I think I know how you would answer this, do you think that we, and when I say we, as human beings, scientists need to kill a Bigfoot to have a physical specimen in order to finally prove its existence?
No, they think they do, but they don't.
Thank you. Right.
No, you can get enough DNA to establish that, and yet you got a lot of people out there trying to justify killing something so they can understand it. But I don't think they need protected. I was asked this last night on another program I was on, and it just no, I don't think they do. We're the ones that need protecting. You know? We're the ones that
I agree.
that need to be led into something better or understand it. But anyway,
I agree.
no, you don't need to kill them. No, I'm totally against that. And first of all, I don't think you really. Well, you may not be able to. Fred Beck said he shot one dead on and fell off a cliff and couldn't find the body. And you got a lot of stuff like that. I've talked to a lot of people that say they've shot him, but that's just because they don't know what it is. They just, like I say, it's easy to shoot at some unknown thing.
Yep, fear of the unknown, isn't it?
Yeah, if you don't know, don't understand it, kill it. You know?
Yeah.
That's just the wrong way to be.
Wrong way.
It's a sentient being. We can't kill it.
It is sentient, and that's very important to understand. They have a language, and that's been established. And I mean, Dr. Lieberman, here's one right quick. Oh, you're out of time, aren't you? Right quick, bro. Let me say this.
Yeah, go ahead.
Somehow. Dr. Lieberman at Brown University says only humans have the vocal mechanism for language, which means a hyoid bone connected to the tongue through the nervous system into the brain, so I can talk to you like this in a sapient manner.
Right. These
things have that, yet they're outside the human range. I had a linguist from UK, which was on Wes Germer's program. And I talked to her personally in Zoom back and forth, and she said when she saw one 20 feet away and it saw her and screamed, and when he screamed, his neck swelled out.
Really?
And and that goes right in with Dr. Meldon's statement. Maybe they got air sacs, you know, because some of those sounds we get recorded sound like they're holding the microphone, but they weren't holding the microphone, you know.
That's
but they got air sacs that allow them to really protrude their vocal mechanism. She said it was so loud when they did that. And it's an episode 515, I think, in Wes Germer's Sasquatch Chronicles. I wanted to plug that because it was phenomenal to me. If you get that going on, I like the air sac idea because a lot of primates have remnants of that or have that, like the howler monkey. You know? Right.
Absolutely. Yes. Perfect example. Well, Ron, we cannot thank you enough. Again, unfortunately, this flies by too quick. We're signing off for now, everybody. Hold on, Ron, if you can hold on for like 1 minute. Thank you again, Mike, for joining us. This has been an absolute pleasure. Absolute pleasure and an honor, Ron.
Good to meet you, Mike.
No joke.
You too.
No joke.
Honor.
It's been an honor and a privilege. Until next time, boys and girls. Mike, what do they have to do, my friend?
Just simply peace out.
Rain for night view.
Are you trying to talk to this? Some reaction. Like a laughing now. That's our job. Now we know where we can look for tracks of owner for sure. I heard them cross the creek. There's two of them across the creek at the big rocks. It's a hard act to follow. He sounds like he talks to us and they talk to each other.
Yeah. Right there, I just seen movement right through there.